Well, but what's the difference between, you're using the word insurance fraud, but if this just turns out to be an exceptionally aggressive business practice, but a legal one, do you still see the type of risk to Valeant's business that you pointed out with some of the claims that you made?
In my opinion, what was brought out by the Wall Street Journal and by Bronte over the past week is not aggressive. Again, I understand aggressive versus illegal. To me, it sounds illegal. What I found actually to be most interesting this morning is Valeant's asking the SEC to investigate me. My name is Andrew Left. I'm a U.S. citizen. I pay 50% of my income to the U.S. government in taxes. I have not spent hundreds of millions of dollars to set up offshore entities. Why don't they ask the government of Canada, Luxembourg, every other offshore country where they hide paying taxes? I actually pay more taxes than Valeant does. And what's crazier is when they want to blame me, why don't they blame their salespeople for not exceeding earnings last week? Why don't they blame their chief operating officer for not making a sustainable business strategy that they've actually said they can't raise prices going forward?
Andrew, it just appears that where the difficulty runs into is that you could have shorted this stock quietly. You could have done your research, done your due diligence, but instead the report really hit the mainstream, and there has been a trickle-on effect due to that. In fact, many analysts say that, look, even if you believe in the stock, you may actually have to sell it because of the headline risk, even if you don't necessarily believe the claims. So, I mean, you can make the argument that there is a conflict of interest there.
There's a conflict of interest because I expressed my freedom of speech? I don't understand that.
Well, but you could have put it.
I mean, every sell-side analyst, there's more financial interest vested in this company on behalf of Valeant management than me. Please, I'll trade any profits that I made on Valeant versus Pearson and the executives' paychecks over the past 4 years.
Does that also mean that you're still? Does that also mean you're still in your short position, though? I know you don't like talking about your positions, but can you tell us if you're still in it?
I don't discuss my trading.
Andrew, I want to ask you about one thing. Hedge funds clearly matter to Valeant and vice versa. According to Goldman Sachs, hedge funds own 22% of Valeant shares. 7% of fundamental hedge funds own Valeant, with 5% owning it as a top 10 position. And in those cases, the average weight is 10% of the portfolio. So there's a lot at stake for these guys. What should be the response of hedge funds? How would you like to see them respond?
All right, good question. I think when hedge funds saw the initial decline in Valeant stock, they should have right immediately limited exposure. There's a reason why people pay hedge funds performance fees is because they're supposed to do better than the S&P, or supposed to do better than a standard mutual fund. And that would be by understanding more than a simple discount cash flow analysis when looking at a company, but understanding the dynamics of a market. So Valeant was a big momentum stock that made a lot of people a lot of money last year. As soon as it ceased to be a momentum stock, if I were a fund manager, what I would do, even if I liked the company, is I would limit my exposure to it, cut things down, hoping that maybe I could buy it in a future date at a lower price.
Andrew, I know you said you don't discuss your trades, but I do want to ask you, after last week, the declines we've seen, some additional ones today, do you think that there's more to go here for Valeant stock? I mean, we've already seen a very significant erasing of value out of this company.
I mean, right now, the stock is, it's bigger than me. The story's bigger than me. It depends exactly how comfortable people feel with it. Right now, if I were a fund manager, I would be looking to buy the collateral damage in some of the other names that probably don't deserve to be down as much, instead of necessarily going ahead and pounding the table on Valeant.